Hi, this is Learning Target 1, Naming and Sketching Geometric Figures Retake Ticket. We're going to work through this front page and then I'm going to ask that you try the questions on the back. First, we'll start with a line. A line is something that goes forever. You're going to be looking for two arrows here, two arrowheads. And no matter how many points might be on that line, we're going to have A on there, we're going to have B, we can add a couple points C, maybe we have another point D. No matter how many points are on this line, you want to name this only using 2 points. So you would name this A, B, and the symbol above it needs to match the picture. So we have 2 arrows on that. There is one other way that you can name a line. Sometimes you will see a lowercase letter. For example, this is a lowercase m, not next to a dot, no point there. We can also use that, and you may see that sometimes, line M. Okay, moving down, we've got ray TS. So a ray is very specific. The first letter tells you where it starts. Okay, sometimes we call that an endpoint. You can think of it as a start or an end. And the other letter tells you where it goes through and continues on forever. And this really only has one way you can name it. It's ray TS, and the specific location of those letters is important. And the symbol that matches is TS with, of course, the picture, the symbol above it matching the picture, ray TS above. A segment, a line segment, is just a part of a line. You've got P to Q. Do not extend that beyond those points. It should start and stop at Q. And the only way to name this one is using those 2 letters. Now you can name this PQ. And of course, if your picture has no arrows, your segment above it, your symbol above it has no arrows, the other way you can name this is QP. You can use either order there that you'd like. Angles. Angle, the important letter to remember when we're looking at an angle is the middle one. The middle one, we call that the vertex. So if I'm going to make angle JKL, first I'll make an angle. It's 2 rays kind of going in different directions. The middle letter is your vertex, so I can add that one first. My middle letter is K. And from there, it doesn't matter which one you add here. There's J up top and L down below. You could put L up top, J down below. When we name it, we've got a couple of different ways to name an angle, but the one that you want to use in this situation is to put the angle symbol, and we can use all 3 letters just as they're given to us. We've got J, it's K, and then L. You can also use just 1 letter, and in this situation this would be okay because there's only 1 angle here, and that would be angle K. The last thing that we're going to look at is a plane. A plane is a 2-dimensional surface. When we have just 1 letter, that is not referencing a point, but that is really more looking at some kind of bold or should be easy to tell letter off to the side. There'll be no point next to it, and it will be different than the other things that may have a point. So if we add points A, B, and C, now we can incorporate the other ways we can name a plane. Plane M, that's just the way to name it. But we could also name this with 3 points. So I like to use ABC. Okay, or you could say CAB, or you could flip around. Any 3 points on the plane will suffice. A couple other definitions that you need to know. Collinear. Co means to be kind of a part of, like a coworker or someone you work with. Cooperate is to work with someone. To co-op is a word you'll hear around video games and things like that. Collinear means same, and then linear means line, so on the same line. On the same line. And an example of that would just look something like this. You got to have a line. Only way to know something is on the same line is if there is actually a line. And so we would have point A and point B along that same line somewhere over here. And point C could be there. So those points all along the line, anywhere as long as they are touching that line. Just going to shrink this out of the way. There. Coplanar means on the same plane. And this one is an easy one to draw as well, where we're looking to draw a plane, and we can add points anywhere on that plane. Coplanar. The other skill that we ask you to do in this learning target is to draw these figures. And the one thing that you just need to remember when you're drawing is that each vocabulary word has a very specific picture. So in this one, before you even draw anything, let's dissect what we've got here. The first word that I see is a segment. I know that's going to have no arrows. And then I see the word plane, which is going to be a two-dimensional shape. I need to have those two things intersecting, which means touch. So I will draw my plane first, and I think it's easiest to draw the plane at an angle, at a slant, so that you can draw the figure coming down. We know that it's a segment, so it's going to stop and start. It goes through the plane, can't really see it again until it pops out down here, and we put another point there. You could also do a dotted line there, that would be fine, but we want to create the illusion that it's going through that plane. Draw a picture of a ray intersecting a plane. Same idea here. We want to take apart each of these vocabulary words. A ray is going to have one arrow. The plane, again, will be a two-dimensional shape. So I draw my plane, draw it at an angle. I have a ray, starts, say, up here, goes into the plane, intersects right there. It's behind the plane, can't really see it. It doesn't go away, but it's just not visible. And then it pops out the bottom side. That's a ray intersecting a plane. And then finally, we got to use that vocabulary word coplanar. So we for sure need to draw 2 points. All right, that shouldn't be too difficult. We need to draw 2 points that are coplanar, on the same plane. Then we need to draw 1 point that is not coplanar. So let's get a plane down. We know we need to do that. I see that word coplanar. It'll be easier to draw if I have a plane. We can call point A and point B are on that plane. And if you imagine that point C is hanging out up above, that would be one way that you could draw it. Another way you could demonstrate is by showing a line that's going through the plane. And perhaps you've got point D. Point D would also be non-coplanar. It's very easy to tell that that does not go through the plane. All right, so go ahead and rewatch, pause, do whatever you need to get these notes copied in. Now, on the back side, you should try and check in with your teacher before you take your retake.